Okay, so defeat for Celtic this afternoon at Ibrox. Hugely disappointing game. A game that I think we all feel Celtic could have got more out of. We'll just open it up early doors. John, I'll get your thoughts on the game.
Yeah, just frustrated. Sometimes after these games you're gutted, sometimes you're raging. For me, it's just a case of frustration today. Felt like there was a game, as you say, we had more to give in, and let down by a weak corner again, let down by a couple of poor individual performances. Collectively in the second half just weren't good enough, and unfortunately, I think Ange was just a little bit too slow to react to the decision to play Kyogo through the middle. So a lot to chat about. But yeah, my main feeling after that is frustration.
Ryan?
Just very disappointed. A game of two halves. Thought we played well in the first half, and then the second half was a complete non-performance. Didn't do anything that we were doing well in the second half at all when compared to the first half. We get done by a corner, poor defending. Their centre back comes in with an easy header. It's very disappointing all in all. I mean, we did have chances in the game, but if you don't take your chances in the first half, you won't. You get punished, and we get punished in the second half. Clearly, very disappointing. Frustrated as well as John.
I think we did have chances in that game. I mean, the obvious one in the first half is the Edouard chance. It just simply has to be a goal. He has to put that one away. Second half as well, Kyogo has those two really clear-cut opportunities in the space of 2 minutes. The first one, he has to square for Christie. The second one, I think he's got that on his mind and he tries to square and the defender just mops it up. Just a real feeling of what could have been this afternoon. John, last season, as you kind of touched on it there, but we had those real dire defeats where you just had that feeling of helplessness and, it was a foregone conclusion. I think this one probably stings more than any of those last season, maybe other than the New Year one at Ibrox. Quite similar to that in a way, obviously, because we created chances and conceded a daft set-piece goal. We should have taken something out of that game, having the possession and, in my opinion, certainly in the first half, the control of the game that we did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit in the sense, like, I was gutted by those games last season because you could see the team were a million miles away and there was really no hope of getting close to them. It was a bit like, at times last season, it was a bit like the way we treated them when Rodgers was here. And that wasn't good enough for me. So I was pleased to see us a lot closer to them today and a lot more competitive in the game. I do think there's an argument to be made here that we're kind of on the right road, and I don't think we're miles away from Rangers now. Some Rangers fans will gloat and mock me for saying that, but I think if you look at the performance of both teams today, I don't think there was a lot in it, and I don't think you can really argue that there was much in it. They scored from the corner, but what did Joe Hart have to do other than that? Really, not a lot, to be honest. But yeah, again, weak from the corner, and there's no denying it. I'm not trying to gloss over our failings today, but I do think there's a case to be made that we're on the right track here, and we need to keep improving. We need to keep believing in this progress. Ange needs a bit more backing in the transfer market before end of Tuesday night, and then we'll see where we go. And the New Year's game's a long way away now, but there's a lot of time for us to improve and keep improving. So, I don't think the team will be too disheartened today by their performance, but I think that, like us, they'll be disappointed and frustrated that it never went our way.
We'll work our way through the game then, guys, and see what we have to say. Early on, first half, probably fair to say the first half was a tale of two chances, I think. You had the Morelos kind of sliced effort over the bar early on, and you had the chance for Edouard, obviously midway through the first half as well. John, I mean, that has to be a goal, doesn't it? I mean, there's no other way really round it other than that having to be a goal.
I mean, it's pretty brutal miss. But these things happen, the game's not about these kind of... for me, the game's not about these individual moments, because I think the idea is to create enough of them that you eventually get one in the door and the goal. And I think it just came, kind of bounced a little bit before Edouard. He should have done better with it. He tries to open his foot and it just kind of hits his heel. It was poor, there's no doubt. You expect better from Edouard, but I think defining the game by those individual chances is a bit of a disservice, because I thought all over the park in that second half, I felt collectively the team were well short.
I mean, if that's Edward 2 years ago, though, that's in the back of the net, isn't it? And I kind of feel like we're all holding out for Edward to return as the player he was 2 years ago. Lads, maybe it's just not going to happen at Celtic. Maybe he just needs to move away in the next few days. See, prior to today, I was very much of the opinion if we can get Edward back to being the guy he was and he can, make an impact for us this season, I'd love to have him around. Because what really is the 12 million or so that Celtic would receive from his transfer? What does that really mean to all of us? Whereas, 25 goals for Edward this season could lead us to the Champions League. After watching that, and I don't want to be so reactionary, it's so difficult on these reactions, but I do just question that Edward, maybe he just needs a move. Maybe he just needs a move to get back to being that player we all know. Maybe he just can't be that player at Celtic again. It is always difficult after these games. You're just so frustrated. It's an absolute sitter for Edward. He has to score. And I thought in general we looked so much more of a threat when Kyogo came on. But we'll come on to that in a second. Ryan, half-time, I thought first half it was a relatively even game, but I thought we were in control of it. I thought they were kind of putting the ball long. We were trying to play. Second half was probably the other way around. What do you think went on at the start of the second half for that to happen?
I don't know. It was almost as if we went back to the sort of Leninisms of before. The performance just dropped completely. There didn't seem to be the same energy. I don't know if that's down to fitness, if they put so much into the first half. It was just very, very disappointing the way we came out. We weren't doing any of the things that we were doing well in the first half. We had players that were absolutely anonymous. I mean, I don't know how many times Abada touched the ball, but it didn't seem like a lot. A lot of our good play comes from Abada. Individually, it was some absolutely dreadful performances. And I don't want to attack players too much, but Christie and Turnbull, I mean,
Turnbull especially, great. Mate. I thought Turnbull was really, really poor.
Yeah,
2 games in a row.
He's not turned up in any games against Rangers so far, I would say. He's really not looked that great against them. It's difficult to try and stop yourself from being reactionary because obviously we get beaten. It's fresh in the mind, but some of those performances. I mean, Christie giving the ball away, I counted 6-7 times. There was one pass that he gave it straight to Kent, and he was basically through on goal. You're like, you're supposed to be helping us, Christie. You're playing for us at the end of the day. There's too many players that didn't turn up for us to get anything really positive about the game. And the second half was just. It was like night and day from the first half in a bad sense. It was really, really unenjoyable to watch, and we were making the same mistakes that we were last season against them. It seemed as if we had a couple of the players, too many of the players that went through last season were playing today, and the heads went down after Rangers scored, and they couldn't get back into the game. So it's very disappointing, and Ange's definitely got a lot of work to do ahead of the New Year's game. I know there's a lot of time between the two games, but we've got to pick ourselves back up and get back on the horse, I guess.
Did you feel, John, that the Rangers goal was coming when it did?
Yeah, I mean, they obviously started the second half far better than we did. I felt like we had good control of the game in the first 45 minutes and just lost that control. Just allowed Rangers to kind of dictate the game on their terms, and by the time they scored, it did feel like it was coming, even though they weren't creating loads and loads of outright chances. They weren't cutting us open, but you just felt that they were gaining momentum, gaining confidence, and then they scored the goal, and then that's when Ange changes it. And I really do think that the defining moment of the game, or the defining moment that didn't come, was that Ange didn't change it sooner than he did. I mean, I know it's easy to say in hindsight, but even during the game, I was sitting there thinking, Kyogo needs to be playing through the middle, Edward needs to come off probably, and we need to try and, get at that central defensive pair in the Rangers, who, towards the end of the game, were exposed a couple of times by Kyogo's movement. And I feel like that would have changed it. That would have provided a threat that wouldn't have allowed Rangers to get such a foothold in the game and eventually get their goal. The goal was poor, I thought we were poor at that corner. I thought we defended well overall, really, and then we let ourselves down in a critical moment again. I mean, a lot's changed at Celtic, but us conceding set-piece goals and derbies is something that probably never changed in my lifetime.
We created 4 chances in that game, didn't we? And all of them came through Kyogo being the last man. That's when Celtic are their most threatening, and that's the point I think. I mean, I made earlier in the week. I don't think I'm the only one who made that point, that it's kind of the uncomfortable truth at the moment. But we're more of a threat with Edward out the team, and I just thought when we went behind, Kyogo, I said he had 2 chances. He actually had 3, didn't he? Because he had the one right after the goal, and then he had the 2 in the last 10 minutes. All 3 could have been goals. I thought Kyogo in general today, his actual play was quite good, but didn't look convincing at all when he went through in goal, which is really unlike him. Just a real feeling of frustration that it took us so long after that goal really to properly put our stamp in the game, and it was the last 10 minutes before we really created those opportunities, and by then it's far too late. It was almost reminiscent of the game last year at Hogmanay at Ibrox, when we had that El Yunusi chance right after Rangers scored. It's all well and good doing it when Rangers are already 1-0 up, but can we go and create those opportunities when it's level? Bitterly disappointing. I thought we had some good performers today. I thought Stephen Welsh had a really good game. I thought Juranovic on his debut in an unfamiliar position was pretty good. You have to just mention the fact that he's not playing in his position. It must be so uncomfortable being a right footer playing at left back. I thought he was really good. I thought Kyogo was good as well. But too many passengers probably this afternoon. How do we feel then in general, guys, apart from the obvious disappointment? How do we feel in general? How do you think you'll feel on Monday evening, Ryan, when you kind of look at the first 8 or 10 games of this season? There's certainly a lot to be positive about, I think, but certainly a lot to work on as well.
Yeah, definitely 50-50. Obviously, you're going to think of the last game. Obviously, against Rangers at Ibrox, you get beat, so it's not ideal to sort of go into the international break feeling like that, especially with all the positivity that's been going around the club recently over the past 3 weeks. But there's definitely more positives than negatives coming out of Celtic just now. I know that we're definitely going in the right direction, but today was just very, very disappointing. It's all about now if Celtic can sort of save the transfer window by getting some good players through the door, by backing Ange, a couple of players out the door as well. I do think that'll be Edouard's last game for Celtic. I think he will go in the next couple of days, as well as a couple of other players. We'll get Giacomakis coming in the next couple of days. Hopefully he can bring something to the team, a bit of a towering presence in the team that can score headers, which would be great. It'd be a great sort of foil for Kyogo. And some other, I don't know if we're going to use the loan market at all, if we're going to get João Jota. I know that's been talked about a lot the past couple of days. But we definitely still need reinforcements through the door, but I do think there are a lot more positives than negatives at this point. Obviously this one stings, but we are going in the right direction, that there is improvement. It's just very, very disappointing at the moment.
I'm hugely disappointed as well, John. I kind of feel that when I take a wee chill pill during the international break and I look back at the start of our season, the fact we've secured Europa League group stage football, the fact we are only 3 points behind Rangers when we lost at Tynecastle, I was fearing 6 or 9 points. There's so much to work on, and it's hugely disappointing, but I kind of feel like I'll be okay. I think going to Ibrox today, honestly, with no Celtic fans there, a full Ibrox must have been so tough for those players. I don't know what the rules will be in December. I hope we don't give them a single ticket for Parkhead. I really hope we don't, because I think it'd be totally unfair if our players had to go to Ibrox with no support, and then even if they have 800 or 900, I hope we don't give them a single ticket for Parkhead, and I hope we make it as hostile as it was today. I still think Celtic will win the league. I still think Ange's taking us in the right direction. I'm just really, really disappointed today, but I honestly do think this team is going in the right direction.
See, I'm not too surprised by today, in the sense that I didn't think we were going to turn up and tear Rangers apart. As excited as I've been about Ange and some of the football we've been playing, I always knew the games against AZ Alkmaar and today were going to be immensely difficult. Unfortunately, it turns out we lost both games. Obviously, we progressed on Thursday, which was obviously a positive. But in terms of today, I thought the game would go the way the first half went, and it'd be a real 50-50 occasion, and one of the teams would need to step up and take their chances. Unfortunately, that wasn't us today. So I'm not too disheartened, because I'm not surprised. I mean, I get upset and angry when something happens that I didn't expect from the Celtic team. And I think from where we are right now, and where we've been over the last 8 weeks, I thought today was about what I expected from this team. And I think we can still improve. I think Rangers will probably still improve too. And I'm not going to deny and say that they didn't have their issues coming into this game too, with all the COVID stuff and Gerrard not on the touchline. You have to accept that. So I think both teams are going to improve. But I think the rate of improvement is greater at Celtic, and I think we've got more scope to strengthen in the last few days of the transfer window. And I'm remain quite positive, and I think Ange needs to learn from that today, and he needs to learn the strengths of Kyogo, and he needs to understand that he needs to be proactive in these games, because these games go by in the blink of an eye. They can pass you by, and you need to make big decisions early to make an impact, and I hope that he learns from that going into the next game and into the European games ahead. But I'm not too disheartened by the start under Ange at all. I would be much preferred to be sitting here on the back of a draw or a win, but there are positive signs, and I think that we can go on and be competitive this season.
I honestly feel like we just need to take our medicine in this one. It's absolutely gutting, and listen, you only need to look at our 3 mugs right now to see how disappointed we are. I'm absolutely gutted. I'm absolutely gutted after that, because I felt we could get a result in that. But I just think we need to take our medicine. The Celtic support need to continue to back Ange. In a way, I think the international break is probably coming at the perfect time. I know footballers often say that they want to, get that result out the way and get a win, on Wednesday night or whatever. But I think right now, put a stop on it. 2 defeats in a row, put a stop on it, and come back for, I think it's Ross County, 11th of September, and get back doing what we can, score a few goals past them. Let's look forward to the next phase of the season. Ryan talks about the fact that we've not got another derby until the end of December. I mean, who knows what state both sides are going to be in? Who knows what state the world is going to be in a few months? But I honestly still believe we've got enough, at the club in terms of the management and the players to at least mount a pretty close title bid this season. But, Ryan, it doesn't take away from how disappointing it is today.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I would also say it's disappointing because I feel like this Rangers team were there for the taking today. There's similarities between the sort of Betfred Cup final as well, where we were sort of there for the taking, but we got away with it. They were there for the taking, but they got away with it today. You seen when Kyogo went up front, their defenders didn't know what to do with
Couldn't deal with him.
With Kyogo.
Yeah.
I mean, if Kyogo, it's hindsight's a wonderful thing, but if Kyogo gets that chance that Edouard gets, Kyogo scores that, and that's the difference for me. We can't. It's trying to fit Edouard into this team. You're taking away from Kyogo, and if Edouard's not firing the way we know he can be, which admittedly was 2 years ago now, I don't see what the point in sort of negating Kyogo's strengths are to put Edouard in this team. Our best football this season has been with Kyogo up front, Abada on the wing, and Christie in the wing. And we didn't play to our strengths today, I don't think. And it's very disappointing, but it's only one game. It's a long season. We'll get plenty more to come. Both teams will drop points. That is for sure over the course of this season. We just need to take our medicine and hope to do better next time. Just need to learn from it. But I would say that Ange needs to be more proactive in his substitutions rather than reactive, because we only made a sub after we conceded a goal. Like, that was obvious 20 minutes ago that sub had to be made, or that sort of switch with Kyogo had to be made. He had to get played through the centre, and that never happened. So it's very, very disappointing. It really does sting, especially after how well we've started the season, after an unfortunate start as well against Hearts, but the past 3 weeks have been really good. But we'll learn from it, and we'll go back, and I just feel sorry for Ross County, because they're going to be the first team to sort of meet us after the international break, when we've been thinking about this for a week and a half. So good luck to them, I guess.
To quote Ange from Friday, it's August. It's still very early in the season. Lads, roll on December is all I can say. I don't know what date in December it is. It will be near the end of the month, obviously, but roll on December at a hostile Celtic Park. And obviously, let's get a result that day, but let's get lots of results leading up to that. Final say, John, on you go.
Final say is just, really what I've been saying throughout the show, and I'm not getting too despondent about today. I think there'll be overreactions in terms of, people throwing the dummies at the pram a little bit. I'm not going to subscribe to that, because I just think that I see evidence in front of my eyes that this team is improvement, and I see the players coming into the club looking like, good players. I thought, the new signing, Josip Juranovic today was good, and he was playing out of position. Kyogo looks good. Abada's looked good. He wasn't good today. Don't get me wrong, he was poor today, but he's still only 19, and he's been pretty good in the early stage of the season. there's hopes for progress there, and I think we'll make it. So that's what I'm going to take away from that today, rather than focusing on our Rangers win.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Please remember to subscribe to 67 Heel Heel. I think we'll have a day off tomorrow. Enjoy the long weekend, and we'll be back on Tuesday with plenty of Celtic content. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Take care.